to that too, we are people who live and die on story. Like, we are built for story, right? And even when, just like in your regular life, you walk down the street, you tell a story about what it is that you're seeing as you're walking down the street. You have an encounter with a person and you make up a story about that encounter based on your own experience. That is just what we do as human beings. Human beings create stories out of everything, out of, whatever it is. And the story that you are telling yourself about that encounter could be completely different from what is the actual story, because you don't know what the other person's side of the story is. You're just making it up. So we are constantly making up stories. We are used to story. We're wired for stories. And people who are in power are particularly bent on keeping a kind of story as the main story because it keeps them in power. So there is no benefit. There is no power benefit. There is no financial benefit to having stories be diverse, because if you want to keep a power structure with certain people at the top, you cannot have that, because those stories will break down that power structure and then you do not have it. So the loss is for everyone.
Absolutely.
Let us all be clear about the fact that subjugating or you tamping down one set of stories is a loss for everybody. You may not realize it standing on the top of the power structure, but you are actually losing out as well, because the ground beneath you is eroding. And maybe you're the last one to notice, but by the time you notice, it is too late. So there's that. It is a loss for all. It is not a loss just for, Black and brown people. It is not a loss just for Native people. It is a loss for everyone. Absolutely. Because if you have more stories, you have more resources. You have more stories, you have more ideas. You have more stories, you have more stuff that you can go to fix the things that you do.
It's like we're a society with our hands tied behind our back or something, right?
And the thing is, like, if your hands are tied behind your back, but if you feel like you can still get stuff done, you don't even know that your hands are tied behind your back. And in some ways, you're the worst off of all, because the people who have their hands tied behind their back and they know, and they're working actively against it, they're actually doing something and trying to find out and getting all of the information. People who are standing there with their hands tied behind their back and they're thinking, oh, everything's working fine for me, don't even realize that they are in real peril.